Hello Stampers and welcome to my studio. This is Sheila with Stamping Wishes. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm here to show you one of the cards we made in our Friday evening class, and what we're going to be doing today, a little bit different version of it. But this is the card that we did in the class. I did leave the inside blank only because this one, because it says may your love grows sweeter with every passing year, could be a wedding or an anniversary card. So that's what I'm saving it for when I need that special occasion card. Okay, so today, after we used, I don't know if you have gotten the new lace embossing folder, dynamic embossing folder. It is gorgeous, and there's so many different things you can do with it. So once I saw it, and that's what I used in the background here, I thought, a card immediately came up into my mind. So that's what we're making today. And I did make one version. I'll show you in a minute. But my stamp club, when they come, they get these packets, and it has both their instructions as well as, flip it over, the supplies that I used. So that's real easy. If they want to order anything from what we're making, they can just flip it over and order it from our directions. In it comes with all of the pieces that they need. Sometimes I have them cut some of their pieces out, and sometimes I cut them out if we're doing quite a few projects, just to save some time. All right, so today, drum roll, here's the card we're going to be doing. I just thought it was so pretty and colorful and just made me happy making it. So that's what we're going to do today, and this shows you both versions. And then in the inside we did make a wish and enjoy your happy birthday. Because I had one of my items, it was actually one of my magnets that was covered with some type of a washi tape, but part of the blue from the washi tape started coming off onto the card. So I went ahead and put a happy birthday cake there, and we will probably change it up a little bit when we do our card today on this. Okay, so what you need for this card, let's go ahead and put this one aside, is you're going to need, this is the blueberry bushel, and you're going to want to cut that at 5.5 by 8.5, and we just scored at 4.25, or just fold it in half, and we're going to go ahead and fold it in half here. Your next piece is the Granny Apple Green, and it's cut at 5 by, cut at 4 by 5.25. So let's go ahead and adhere it. We're not needing it for anything, so we'll go ahead and get that done. Okay. And then we'll set that aside for a second. I ran a piece that is 3 3/4 by 5 inches through the embossing folder. And the reason that I ran it through is this design here really catches my eyes as a border type piece, which is what I used over here. Okay, and so what I did, I wanted to show you what it looks like when it comes out this way. So I kind of altered my paper a little bit where the complete design came on the way I wanted it to, so that I could go around the curves, which would have been this curve here is what I went around, with a straight edge on one side like so. Okay. And then I have for the inside a piece that's 3 3/4 by 5 inches that we'll do our greeting on. And then I cut out from this framelit, this particular one. I just love this framelit. I have used it in so many projects, and I'll be showing some of the projects we did from Stamp Camp. And one of our home that was done on a magnetic piece, this was the base of every change out, so it just really, I've used it quite a bit. And we're also going to use this one today for doing our birthday, happy birthday here. I did one in the white, and then I did a second one in the blue and just cut it in half to extend it so that it had some color behind the sign. Okay, for the oval, we used the stitched shape framelits, and I used the second one to the largest one. So I numbered that. I number mine. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and let's see the stamp sets we used. Let's bring them out. I used the Happy Birthday, which we'll use here, out of the Beautiful Bouquet, and then we used a piece of cake bundle set, which I'm going to show you how to line that up, and it's a great set for so many different occasions. And then Life is Grand, another one of my favorites that have come out in this occasional catalog. I just love the way the colors, the lighter and darker colors come out of it. It's just beautiful. But what I did want to show you, I think some of the other demonstrators, if they haven't shown on their blogs, I've seen it on others, but I've started doing this as well. When you have your old stamps, and, oops, this isn't one of the sets. I thought it was. Let me see if I can grab one real quick here. Oh, here's one. Very vintage. In your old sets, for example, I went ahead, I was using a cling that was on my actual stamping block, but now with the leftovers from your cling stamps, which is what I keep in this little packet here so it's handy when I need it, as I use my other older stamp sets, I just cut off a little strip. It doesn't take a lot, you just need something there. Cut off the little strip and then you peel it, which is not always the easiest thing when you're under camera, I know. But get your nail to get it started, and once it gets started, it just peels right off. There we go. Okay. And you take that sticky side and you put it on your stamp. And peel this off. So now you have a sticky stamp. So save all of your cling mount stamp pieces, and as you use your other stamps prior to the cling stamps, your clear stamps, be sure and put those covers onto them now that you've got that, and use this to finish them off like a cling stamp. So that's my tip for today. Okay, let's put this aside and let's get started. Okay, one of the things we're going to do first is the inside, because I've got my Stamparatus that's already set up with a couple of directions. And since I've already taken my sponge mat out, I'm going to go ahead and do the birthday items here. Okay, so let's get this lined up and make sure I have it lined up the way I had it previously so we can stamp this. And if you notice, I went and got some white masking tape for my magnet so that doesn't happen to me again. So let's see if this looks like it's still lined up. That looks good. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp that one, and we're stamping it in the blue. So we're going to use our blueberry bushel. And like I said, this is the one that has the variegating colors on it, so make sure you've got a good nice coat. Come down and do your 10-second rule of letting the ink transfer off. Okay, I think we can go again though. I think we can make that blue just a little bit brighter. Let's go in there. We're going to put a little bit more pressure on it. Sometimes when your magnets are there, I think it has a tendency to want to keep it lift up a little bit higher when you have it close to your stamp. Perfect. Beautiful coating there. So we're good with that. Let's go ahead and clean this stamp set off and let it dry a little bit here. And we'll do the other one. So let's line it up, make sure that it's still where I want it to be, and it is. So let's go ahead and use our Granny Apple Green on it. And because I do have my other stamp ready for us to stamp the cake, you have to be a little careful when you're using two of them like that so you don't ink the other one up. So we'll come over here, press down. Beautiful, perfect, just what I wanted. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this out. We can put that on the inside of our card because we are done with that particular one. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that one stamp off and put it over here for when we use our polymer. So while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and put our foam sheet in there that we'll need for the photopolymer stamp. Okay, and I'll show you this. One of my friends I had bought a pack of the change outs and stuff, but what helps is during classes and stuff, because I do loan out my Stamparatus if somebody's without one, so that I don't have to go through so many sheets while they're using it. She went ahead and laminated it for me, so it's a great one to use. You can use it on your centimeters or by the inches. And it's just great because if somebody does stamp on it, it wipes right off and can be used for my classes. Now my other ones I do use for myself because as I'm doing several projects, I might want to mark on there my settings for each of them. So I will go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this away for a little bit and adhere this one into the inside of our card. Let's move this over so I can get back into the view of the camera. Sometimes I forget to glance up and make sure that I'm still got y'all in there. Okay, so let's set this aside. While we're at it, let's go ahead and get a piece of scrap and we'll do our happy birthday there. That's going to go on the front of the card, and we use the Berry Bushel. And let's use our foam mat since we're using a photopolymer. And bring it over here and press and hold. Beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our Big Shot here, and I'll cut out this one along with a blue one real quick. Okay. So we can make some room here to get it where it might be a little bit, let's see if I can bring, oops, that's bringing it in too much there. Okay, I think y'all get the drift of what I'm doing anyway. So what I'm going to do, and let me see if I can push this back a little bit here so that you can actually see the plates. Okay, and just a hint for y'all when you have your plates, if you don't want them to warp, if you'll take and mark like I have my bottom plate, it always stays on the bottom, and as you can see, they're flat and it's well loved and used. Okay, and then I have one that I have as the top, and it too is flat. And the reason for this is that I'm always have the same ones down like this, and as I push it through, then it keeps my plates flat. So just a hint, if you're having trouble with them warping, don't be flip-flopping them around by keeping them all, identifying your top one and your bottom one. It seems to work well. Okay, I'm going to put my happy birthday up here and use our little framelit, line it up. That looks good there. Oh, it's a little crooked, so let's, there we go. Okay. Okay, and let's go ahead and pop that out. Right. And let's use our tool and knock out the pieces, because if you leave those pieces in there, your next cut won't be quite as well done as your first one, because sometimes it keeps it from going all the way through. So you want to make sure those are cleaned out. So let's go ahead and put this in here too. And for anybody new to Big Shots, be sure when you're using your framelits that your cutting side is down and not up. For this project here, there are some actual techniques that you would use it up, but not this way, not your standard anyway. Okay, let's move this out of the way. All right, so let's get back here and finish our project up here, and we're going to poke out our little pieces again. And I had my brush, but it was over on another counter, so I didn't want to take the time to go get it. But your brushes work really well with the pad that they come with for taking out your small pieces like this. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and put this back into its place over here. All right, so now what we're going to be doing, if you've not used these stamps with the punches, is you want to measure your strip, you know, approximately what's going to fit in. That's why I do scraps like this of what I know is going to go in and fit into here. So that what you do is you take, and since I've already got this one lined up, I'm not going to do it again, but what you do is you bring this down and you just take your pieces and place them into the actual punch. And when you do that and lift it back up, it puts them exactly where it needs to be for the punch. So what we're going to do is just flip this over. Make sure it's in the, I've got enough. That looks about right here. We're going to flip this over, and then all I have to do is to stamp it onto there, and you'll see how it fits really nice up into the punch. And you would do this with any of your punch and stamp sets that come as a bundle, is to line them up first, and that way you've got an exact match to come into your punch. So let's go ahead and give this a nice press. We need some more ink. Some of that just didn't come out well. And I do have, make sure I had my little pad there in case that was the problem, but it's not. It's probably the pressure I put on it. So let's go again. Let's see if we can get it that time. Perfect. Okay. So now we're going to use our punch and punch that out. So let's pull this out of here. And move this off to the side. All right, so let's go ahead and take our punch, and we're going to be going into our piece of paper this way, lining it up. And since it was already lined up, I know that by just pushing it, you can do that without moving it. I think we got it right about there. Looks good. Okay, so then just punch them out, and there you have your pieces all lined up real nicely with a nice border around them. Okay, so let's put this and this over here for a second, and this. Now what I'm going to do with my piece of lace here, if you noticed on the other one, I had sponged it and then used I sponged it with the Granny Apple Green, and then I used my Mango Melody to color my flowers in here, okay? But I don't normally show other things that are not Stampin' Up, but this is something I came on to a couple of months ago, and I have just fallen in love with it. And I believe I saw it from an Australian demonstrator using them, and I thought, oh, I got to have some of these. So I went hunting for them, and what they are, these are makeup brushes. They're start makers, the ones I have, and they come with quite a few designs. This whole packet here I got for a little over $9 on, at Amazon. And so they've got a lot of different sizes and everything. But your sponging goes on so smoothly with it, the way I guess it would be with makeup if you were using them with it for what they were originally planned for. So I'm going to get a scrap of paper here and show you how I use them. And that's, like I said, I have fallen in love with this, and it's not that I don't still use my daubers and my sponges. I do, but there's times like this when the technique, I still take and come off because I don't want a real blob of dark color to come on, and it would work the same way if you were doing a sponge or a dauber. You want to work off of your paper first and then come on. But as you can see how pretty and smooth this comes on, and whenever I show some of my other stamp camp projects we did, you're going to see from the skies and the ocean and sand areas how smooth everything came out. It was really a piece of art, which all of our cards, every time we do a card, it's a piece of art that we need to cherish and enjoy. And yeah, so okay, so I think that's maybe a little bit more green in the center here. Now, to clean this, all you have to do, it does come with a little rubber piece in there, but I find that the microfiber cloth, you just rub it off on there, And as you, let me put it here where you can see it. See, no color's coming off. It just cleans it right up. But you want to do that to make sure that your color has come off before you use it onto another color. Okay, so, all right. Let's go ahead and finish this up now by coloring our little flowers in there. And what I used was the lighter mango. So we're just going to color in. I'm going to speed this. Okay, well, I made a mistake. I've got the wrong lids evidently on my pens and wasn't paying attention. So this is something I kept wondering why this was coming out so dark like it did. And we're going to leave it. It's okay. But if you notice in the other one, I used the lighter. So it kind of gave the accent of it. But that's okay. So we're just going to use a little brighter. And I'm going to make sure I get these lids on correctly. This one is my dark. So we need to take that lighter lid off. I think that's right. Yep. And then this would be my light mango so that I don't mess that up. And it does help to read your labels too at times. Okay, so now let's go ahead and assemble this piece on. And we want it to be approximately right there. So let's go ahead and put that on. And you can cut this to fit up here like I did on the other one, or you can cut a little bit shorter. It just depends on what scrap I had, and I happen to have a little shorter scrap, so that's why I did what I did. All right, so for our background here, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down because we're going to put our cake up on dimensionals. Okay, and so let's go ahead and get us some couple little dimensionals here. And put our cake where we want it, which I think this looks good right about there. And then for our little cake plate, if I had my minis close by, I would be using a mini dimension, but I don't have them close by. I just had my larger one, so I'm going to cut a strip from my larger ones here and take off the side. And they fit in real nicely right at the bottom here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing for the top. Now you always want to save your, a lot of people use their dimensions up and then they throw out the borders. You never want to throw any parts of it because every part of your dimensional is useful. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this off. Hopefully I didn't go over. Nope, didn't look like it. And I am using shimmery white for my cardstock. And otherwise, if I wasn't, I probably would be using my Wink of Stella to bring some sparkle to the piece, but it has it already there. So this time, reading that I have Light Mango Melody, I'm going to come in here and do my flowers. There we go. And then I'll bring the dark in to highlight the flower a little bit. And most of it's going to be shown behind, I'm going to put a little embellishment on it so it won't show that much. But I did go ahead and use it in the little cake decorating on the edges here. And what would really be pretty, I didn't do it on the first one, but I just saw something. Let me get my blue here. is the light Night of Navy. And this looks like it ought to be a little ribbon strip of fondant icing there. So that's what we're going to do with it. We're just going to come in here and add that in there. Looks like we need to do the same thing down here. So let's go ahead and bring that in. Perfect. Isn't that cute? Okay, so now let's go ahead and get our embellishments real quick and get us let's see if I had them already out. I did. Okay. Let's go ahead and put us a rhinestone in here. Gotta have that beautiful sparkle to it. Okay. So then we're going to take and use a couple of more dimensionals to prop it up on our card. Let me bring this over here where you can see what I'm doing. And as economical as these dimensionals are, don't be stingy with them when you're putting your card together, because it is a piece of art and you want that piece of art to last a long time and not come apart. So don't be stingy with it. Oh, let's see if I can get it back up. I wanted it a little bit further over so that I can, let's see if we can do this without messing the card up. Let's bring it over here because I want some of those flower centers to show for putting our other embellishments on. Okay, so then I took the blue and I just snipped it in half and ran my tape runner adhesive across of it, and then lined it up where it overlapped just a little bit. Okay, and same thing with this one. Make sure you've got them in the right direction that has the smoother part of your cut in so it looks nicer. So we do that. Okay, now we're going to use a couple of dimensionals to put this together. There we go. Okay, so let's put that on our card. I think we'll just go ahead and go over. My flowers aren't quite the same as they were on the first one, so I'm just going to do this. And that way we can use. So again, I used my glitter enamel dots, and let's use this size right here. I just love these enamel. Wish we had them in every color, because I would definitely use every one of them. It just adds so much sparkle and glamour to the piece of work that we're doing. Okay, and now we have another card. So here we go. Here's the first one that we did, along with the original one from our stamp camp. Put them all three together here. And so thank you for joining me today in my studio. And if you need to place an order, there is a link in my blog for you to go to my shop. And I'd be glad to help you out. If you don't have a demonstrator and you need any of our catalogs, be sure and contact me and I'll get one right out to you. Again, have a God bless day for you, and until next time, happy stamping.